Are you caring for a loved one with dementia? You don't have to figure this out all on your own. Welcome to Truth, Lies, and Alzheimer's, the show that helps you reimagine a new relationship with your loved one, a relationship a little more free of stress and anxiety. Join host Lisa Skinner and her 30-plus years of experience as she guides you on a new path to a better relationship with those you care for. Here's Lisa.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Truth, Lies, and Alzheimer's Show with Lisa Skinner, your host. I am going to talk about something that just is very unnerving for me. And it's all of the misinformation, the disinformation, the myths that have been circling around living with Alzheimer's disease for as long as I've been around. And it dates back 50 years to my first experience with my grandmother. So that's a long time to be hearing these myths that circulate around, knowing that they're all untrue. And I think what it has ended up doing is really putting blinders on the situation for understanding the truth about what people go through when they have Alzheimer's disease or related dementia. So I'm busting some of those myths today. We're actually going to do this in two parts because there are so many of them. So here's what I have to share with you for part one of myth busting dementia and Alzheimer's disease information. First one, memory loss is just a normal part of aging and nothing to worry about. Well, the truth is, while aging can bring some natural changes in memory, significant or progressive memory loss that interferes with daily life is not normal and can be a sign of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease. Now, other disorders such as depression, thyroid issues, medications, sleep disorders can also cause memory problems and should be evaluated. So why is this misleading? Because it confuses age-related changes with pathological decline. So the key point to this is seek medical evaluation if memory loss progresses or if it impacts a person's independence, or if it includes significant confusion or difficulty in planning, or getting lost in familiar places. Another myth. Alzheimer's disease is caused by a single gene or is purely genetic. The truth? Most cases are not directly caused by a single gene. There are rare early onset familial forms caused by specific genetic mutations. For example, the APP, the PSEN1, and the PSEN2. But the majority of cases are sporadic and influenced by a combination of genetic risk factors like the APOE4 gene or lifestyle factors and environmental factors. So why is this one misleading? Because it oversimplifies the causes and could also create a situation for people where they're feeling undue guilt or fatalism. Like, why should they bother living because they're going to get Alzheimer's disease anyway? And that's completely far from the truth. The key point to this is genetics can influence risk, yes, but lifestyle and vascular health also play a major role in determining a person's risk for developing Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is not fatal or is just an old age brain decay. Truth to that, Alzheimer's is a progressive neurodegenerative disease that ultimately leads to severe cognitive and functional decline and is usually fatal. Well, it is fatal. Complications such as infections, falls, and malnutrition contribute to the mortality of a person. So why is this one misleading? Because it downplays the severity and the prognosis of Alzheimer's disease and the other brain diseases that cause dementia. There's no going back. There's no cure. There's no treatment yet. There's no reversing it. So the key point here is early planning and symptom management are extremely important. Here's number 4. Only older people get Alzheimer's disease. The truth to that matter is the vast majority of cases occur in people age 65 or older, but a small percentage occur in people under the age of 65. We call that early onset Alzheimer's disease. Other forms of dementia can affect younger individuals as well. Why is that misleading? It ignores younger onset forms and the broader spectrum of dementia. So the key point is that early onset forms are rare, but they are very, very real. And the risk increases as we age. Number 5, Alzheimer's disease progresses the same for everyone. Well, that is a total mistruth. The disease progression varies widely among individuals in rate and in pattern. Some have a relatively slow decline over years. Others experience faster progression. Symptoms can vary in the way of their memory loss, language, visuospatial skills, behavior. All of these can fluctuate between people. And why is this misleading? Because a one-size-fits-all expectations are completely inaccurate. Key point, personalized care plans are very essential and extremely valuable. Myth number 6, if there's no family history, you won't get Alzheimer's disease. That's not true. Family history does increase risk, but is not a prerequisite. Most people with Alzheimer's disease have no known family history. Non-genetic factors such as age, cardiovascular health, diabetes, smoking, exercise, and diet significantly influence the risk for a person to develop Alzheimer's disease. So why is that misleading? Because it ignores non-genetic risk factors. Key point, healthy lifestyle reduces risk and can delay onset for many people. There is a cure or a single pill that will stop Alzheimer's. No, 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 no. There currently is no cure. Some medications can help with symptoms to temporarily and modestly slow the progression down in some people, but unfortunately and sadly, they do not halt the underlying disease. Research is ongoing with several therapeutic approaches under study. It's misleading because it creates false hope about a quick fix. And the key point to this myth is that treatment focuses on symptom management, quality of life, and safety. Next one, Alzheimer's disease only affects memory. While memory problems are prominent, Alzheimer's affects multiple cognitive domains language, reasoning, visuospatial skills, and behavior. Behavioral changes, mood changes, sleep disturbances, and functional impairment are also common symptoms to dementia. And that's misleading because it narrows the expectation of symptoms. I have said so many times that the majority of people that I have known in the past 30 years really associate Alzheimer's disease with short-term memory loss and confusion. And as I've discussed multiple times, it is so much more complicated than that, but people fall prey to these myths. So the key point is that a comprehensive assessment covers cognition, covers function, behavior, and daily living. The next myth: dementia is just a normal part of aging and cannot be prevented. Well, dementia is not an inevitable part of aging. Though risk does increase with age, some risk factors are modifiable, like cardiovascular health, obesity, physical activity, smoking, diabetes, and depression. Prevention or delay may be possible through risk-reducing strategies. That's misleading because it implies that nothing can be done, which is not true. And the key point is healthy lifestyle choices can and do influence our risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Next one: if someone has dementia, there is nothing you can do to help. Well, the truth of that matter is that while dementia is progressive, many interventions can improve the quality of life, also improve safety, mood, sleep, and daily functioning. Non-pharmacological approaches such as cognitive stimulation, physical activity, social engagement, and structured routines, as well as appropriate medical treatment, can all help. Care planning and caregiver support are crucial. And that's misleading because it implies passivity. And the key point to this myth is that there is such a thing, and I'm certified in this, called person-centered care, and adaptable routines and support services that all matter greatly in the dementia world. Next myth: memory tests in doctors' offices are definitive diagnoses. No. The truth is, routine screening or brief cognitive tests are initial tools, but a definitive diagnosis typically requires comprehensive assessment, including history, repeated testing, medical evaluation, imaging, and sometimes genetic or laboratory tests. Dementia can be caused by multiple conditions needing differential diagnosis. And that's misleading because it overstates the decisiveness of initial tests. So what's the key point here? The diagnosis is a process, not a single test. Next myth: medicines for Alzheimer's are addictive or dangerous with no benefits whatsoever. Truth to that is that most approved medications have been studied for safety and can be beneficial for some people in symptom management, especially in the early to mid stages. Like all medications, they have potential side effects and require medical supervision. They are not generally addictive. And that's misleading because it confuses side effects with dependence or lack of efficacy. What's the key point? Discuss risks and benefits with a clinician and tailor it to each individual person. Next, dementia only affects memory and is not related to other health issues. Again, dementia is linked with broader health factors, including cardiovascular health, diabetes, obesity, sleep disorders, depression, hearing loss, and lifestyle factors. These things can influence risk, progression, and overall well-being. That's misleading because it isolates cognitive symptoms from physical health. So, what's the key point here? Holistic health management is very important. Next, people with dementia cannot learn new things or engage in complex activities. That's not true. People with dementia can often learn and engage in meaningful activities, especially with tailored approaches, with repetition, and with support. Remaining engaged can help quality of life and may slow functional decline. There's many studies out there that have shown a correlation to that. And that's misleading because it underestimates a person's retained abilities. People just assume they can't do anything anymore, and that's not true. So the key to this is to use a person-centered approach. Simple, enjoyable activities that are focused toward each person and provide adequate support to their skill level. Next, dementia automatically leads to aggressive or violent behavior. Now, most people with dementia are not violent. Behavioral and psychological symptoms can occur, yes, such as agitation or aggression, but these are often due to them being uncomfortable or for environmental reasons or unmet needs that cannot be communicated to us, but can be managed with proper care strategies. So that's misleading because it stigmatizes people living with dementia. I totally agree with that. The key point here is we want to assess for triggers that cause these reactions. We want to provide calm environments and seek professional strategies when behavior changes arise. Tests like brain scans can diagnose Alzheimer's with 100% accuracy. Well, the truth to that is imaging and biomarkers can support a diagnosis and help distinguish between types of dementia, but no single test is definitive in all cases. It is certainly not with Alzheimer's disease. A diagnosis typically combines clinical evaluation, imaging, labs, and sometimes biomarker data. That's misleading because it overclaims certainty to formulate an accurate diagnosis. The point to that is that a diagnosis is multimodal and context dependent. Next, only older people get diagnosed with dementia. Under 65 never has it. Well, don't forget, early onset dementia that's diagnosed before the age of 65 does exist. It's very, very real. Though less common, it can significantly impact families and work and may involve different symptom patterns. That's misleading because it can often ignore a real minority group. So the key point is to seek evaluation when persistent cognitive changes occur at any age. Next myth, there's nothing we can do to reduce our risk once we notice mild cognitive changes. Well, that's not true. Early attention to cardiovascular and metabolic health, physical activity, cognitive engagement, sleep, and social connection can and does influence progression and potentially reduce the risk of rapid decline. Early interventions may delay onset of severe symptoms. That's misleading because it implies inevitability. And the key point is to proactively manage matters at any stage. Next one, dementia is contagious or can be transmitted like an infection. That one is kind of out there. I have heard this for years and years and years, but the truth is that dementia is not contagious. It is not a neurodegenerative condition with biological causes such as an infectious disease. And of course, why is that misleading? Because it spreads and continues to spread misunderstandings and stigma. So you don't have to worry about getting it from sitting on a toilet seat, as my mother used to say. The key point is education reduces stigma and fear. Education is our power. There's no doubt about it. The next one. If you have dementia, you should stop trying to communicate or interact. No. People with dementia often benefit from continued social interaction, tailored communication strategies, and meaningful engagement. Patience, simple language, and supportive cues will help maintain connection. That's misleading because it can so easily lead to social withdrawal and isolation. And we know for a fact that that can speed up a person's decline. The key point is communication adaptations do enhance quality of life. This has been shown to be factual. Couple more. Here's one. That dietary supplements can prevent or cure Alzheimer's. What do you think about that one? Well, I'll tell you. There is no conclusive evidence that most supplements prevent or cure Alzheimer's disease. Fact. Some may be helpful in certain contexts, but not universally proven. But they can interact with prescription medications. I wonder if you actually knew that. Always consult a clinician before starting any supplement. And that is misleading because it promotes unproven cures and potential harm. The key point is evidence-based approaches are obviously preferred. So discuss anything new with a healthcare provider. That makes sense. Next one, people with dementia should never live alone. The truth is, some people with dementia can live safely at home with appropriate supports like home safety adaptations, caregiver support, community resources. Others may require assisted living or memory care. But to determine that, really, you've got to do individual assessments on each person. Each case is different. That's misleading because it's overly prescriptive and not person-centered. I agree with that. The key point, safety plans and regular reassessment are key. Next to last myth that I'm going to share with you in part 1. Caring for someone with dementia must be done by a family member. There's no need for professional help. The truth is, a combination of formal care services that could include home health aides, memory care people, social workers, and informal caregiving often provides the best outcomes. Caregiver support reduces burnout and improves care quality. And that's misleading because it undervalues professional resources. And in my experience, it just perpetuates being in that state of reaction. If you have not been trained on effective communication strategies, and you just, it's like being the hamster on the wheel. So that's an important point. So what should we do in that situation? Build a care team that includes healthcare professionals and community services if possible. And the last one in part 1 of busting myths. Once diagnosed, there's nothing that can be done, and the disease will inevitably worsen quickly. The truth is that while dementia is progressive, the trajectory varies person to person. Symptom management, medical treatment, environmental adjustments, and caregiver planning can improve quality of life and functional independence for much longer periods of time in a lot of people. And I think this is a really good point for why this is so misleading. And I've seen it because it promotes hopelessness. That doesn't have to be the case. Key point to this is that early ongoing planning and care optimization can be so beneficial to our loved ones and the folks that we are caring for living with Alzheimer's disease and dementia. So there are 24 myths so far that I have shared with you. That's a lot of misinformation out there. And I still have part 2 to go over with you, which will be published and aired the following week after this one. They're going to go back to back. So that concludes the episode today for the Truth, Lies, and Alzheimer's show. Again, I'm Lisa Skinner, your host. And don't forget, if you want to check out our website for updated information and new resources, please go to mindingdementia.com. I hope all of you have a happy and healthy week ahead of you. And as always, I will be back next week with part 2 of busting myths about living with Alzheimer's disease and dementia. So hope to see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Truth, Lies, and Alzheimer's. We hope you found something in today's episode that helps. We understand that caring for a loved one with dementia can be the challenge of a lifetime, but you don't have to do it alone. If you're ready for exclusive access to even more great content and resources, head on over to Facebook and join Lisa's Minding Dementia support group. We're a community of like-minded caregivers, and we're here to help.